Now, it seems to be popular among Radley's fans to portray him as being able to stay in town after the events of the arc. I certainly prefer to think this, especially in Animeverse, where we have no conclusion to Radley's story and must make it up for ourselves. In such a scenario, one wonders how he and Callan would get along. If Radley finally understood why Callan treated him as he did, would that make a difference? Now, I believe it would. While we have no absolute proof of that, we do have the bunch's interaction with Radley. It's implied that they're outcasts and misfits in Crashtown, and that they're there, and presumably with Radley, because no one else will have them. We see they're happy together and very comfortable with Radley, interacting with him on a first-name basis, as opposed to Malcolm's crew not daring to address him by name. They don't fear Radley. Radley must be aware of their sorrows and has been kind and accepting of them regardless. If he recognized Callan's depression and self-hatred, I personally feel he could very well come to feel the same about him. And as for Callan, once he gets his mind clear, especially if he finds out Radley really was trying to protect the town, I think Callan would feel better about him too. I think that they could start developing a very close friendship even. It's really interesting to think about, but of course that is content for another video. Now overall, Radley's an interesting series of contrasts, even more so when you bring together elements from both the Japanese and dub versions of the character. He loves money, but he may have a deeper reason for engaging in the war with Malcolm. He can be alternately immature or philosophical. This is true of both verses, video game and anime. His gang seems to follow him out of love and respect rather than fear or sadism. His story wasn't allowed to wrap up properly in the anime, and it could have gone in so many different ways. What if Yusei and Callan had looked for him and taken him with them, as they really should have? I honestly believe he would have willingly helped them, even if he had whined a bit at first, thinking it was hopeless. What if Jordan Sergio survived the fall in the mines and Radley found him and tried to help him? What if Callan found Radley hurt, or worse, and felt horrible for rejecting him and leaving him behind? And what if Radley learned why Callan was acting the way he was, and it opened the door for healing for them both? So many things that could have happened, most of them awesome. They'd all lead to happiness for him and for other characters. Now, I wish Canon had answered some of these questions, and I wish they would have been answered in a way that would be satisfying for Radley fans. But since Canon chose not to address them, it does give fans free range to decide what happened next, and I most certainly appreciate that. Now, I'm always drawn to characters that I feel are fascinating, misunderstood, and or deserving of exploration, redemption, and happiness. My first experience writing for Radley was when I was writing a story about Crashtown. I needed to give a few lines about how the town was coming along. So even then, when I wasn't thinking about Radley as much, I knew I felt he wasn't bad. I wrote some lines about him saving Jordan in the mines and found myself so intrigued, I knew it needed to be a full story. And the first draft came gushing out within 24 hours. I was so inspired. And that became The Night After, which I am infamous for rewriting to explore different angles of. Every version of it is different, and I have favorite versions. Suddenly, I had many other ideas for stories too, with Radley and usually Callan. I hadn't had that much inspiration in a long time, and it felt amazing, exhilarating. Writing about Radley and Callan and doing other projects with them has honestly helped me through some extremely difficult times in the last 3 years. I lost a friend of 20 years to cancer right when I started getting ideas for many Radley stories. And because of Radley and his love of motorcycling, I was able to overcome a trauma that's plagued me for years and finally drive again after nearly getting in a horrible wreck with a semi-truck. I was so inspired by Radley's love of motorcycling, I wanted to have that too, because I used to love driving and I wanted to feel that again. And finally I had the courage to try. Now, Radley and Callan both mean a great deal to me. Radley's particularly special to me. And because of these real life things that he's helped me with, I actually feel like God brought him to me. As crazy as that probably sounds to people, I honestly believe that, and I feel I would be remiss if I didn't say that. And I want to share this love of an underrated character with everyone. Explain why I believe he's worthy of more than canon gives him. There's just so much that could be done with him and wasn't done in canon. But I like to fill in the blanks, as do his other fans. I've found some really, really nice fan works about him that weren't written by me. Now, there are other fans out there. And I also like to make other creative projects. So as you can see, this is my Radley plushie. I love him very much. And I also have a doll made from a J doll from Descendants. And now he has inspired me on so many levels. I've done so many interesting projects because of him. And so I'm really happy to finally be able to get this video out. I know a lot of the content's been shared before on other mediums, but some of it's new. And I wanted to gather it all together in one place. So I hope it's given you something to think about anyway. Even if you don't like Radley, if you don't agree with my feelings, I hope that you understand at least a little why I feel the way I do about him, why he's special to me, and why I feel like he could be good. And I will always portray him as good. I don't think I could portray him as bad if I tried. So thank you for watching, and I hope you'll stick around for whatever other projects I might do about Radley or anything else. Thank you to all of the people who've been interested in my stuff for years. It really, really means a lot to me. So, thank you.